Hey, what is up? Yeah, it's been a little bit. I've actually made a lot of different things that I've recorded. I just haven't submitted any of them. I probably have hundreds of videos. If I actually submitted a lot of the videos I've been creating, but I've determined that I am going to hopefully submit this one. So I'm going to be making an inventory system. So let me go in here. And I'm going to pick the third person one. I don't know if there's anything in starter content that I want to use. I don't really know how I'm going to do or how much inventory stuff I'm going to do. It's already like 1:30 in the morning. So it's already kind of late. I'll just start working on it and see how far I get in terms of stuff. But inventory. Here, let me move this closer to my face here. Let's hit create on here. I'm gonna leave the starter content on there. Let's see. Did I say something that sounded close to Siri? Because my phone just lit up. Alright. So I'm in the third person thing here. And how do I want to start this? Probably should start by getting the actual stuff that I'm going to use in terms of the 2D asset that I'm going to use as an icon, and then the actual meshes. And you can just use whatever 2D assets or meshes you're going to use. I'll show you what I'm going to use. So let me open the marketplace here. Go by the library. I'm going to use these 50 free stylized icons. And I'm just going to add it to the thing I just created. Add to project. And the other one, there's like a weapon. Oh, yeah. I'm just going to do the low poly RPG fantasy weapon stuff. I don't know if that's free. Just get whatever, yeah, whatever you guys want to use it. These are the static meshes. The other things are the icons. And then I can just close this up. Can hit import on here. And we're good. Alright, so let me create a new folder. And I'm going to call it inventory. And then all my inventory stuff is just going to go in here. I'm not going to organize too much. The fan just started blasting. Hopefully you guys can't hear that. Let me create a blueprint class to start off with. And it's going to be a user widget. So let me just drop it in here, user widget. Click on this. I'm going to select this. I'm going to call this WB underscore, and this is going to be my inventory. I don't know why I said it like that. I'm going to dog this up here. Let me save this. And how do I want to create this? Well, I'm just going to start with the canvas because this is going to go on the screen. So this whole canvas thing is the entire screen. And then whatever goes in this canvas panel is how it's going to look like on the screen. So if I take an overlay, attach it here, this overlay, wherever this overlay is, which I'm probably going to put it in the center, but let me add some stuff onto it. Let me see a border so you can actually see what we're looking at here. Oops, there we go. So this white thing, wherever this thing is located, it's going to be where you're going to see it on the screen in relation to with this canvas panel here. So I'm going to put an image on here. Oops. Drag on the border, and then I want to add here, let me first center this in the center. So this is an anchor, this little flower petal looking thing. And if I put this anchor in the center and I zero out the location, it's going to zero out to that location. It's going to be a little off on the alignment, and all you have to do is add 0.5 and 0.5 so it's directly in the center. I probably should have adjusted the X and Y axis before we did that. Let's see. How big are we trying to make this? That's not as big as I thought it would be. 800? And then like 500? Alright, something like that. I'm going to change this color. Maybe like tint it down a bit. Like kind of like a grayish. I don't know. And then I'm going to add a wrap box in here. And a wrap box is going to be where all of our different... So this is going to be the inventory itself. It's going to be where all the items are going to be in. It's going to be inside the wrap box. I don't know if I explained that very well. What's up? There we go. Can I see my wrap box? Alright, so it's going to encompass the entire thing. And I probably need to make this variable. I don't know. We'll see if I need it to do anything with it later. Maybe I should make this look a little bit more like an inventory. Let me make another... I'm gonna make another overlay. Yeah, I'm gonna make another overlay. So I add another overlay, and I'm gonna add another border here. I'm gonna make this fit here. Overlay. I'm going to center it out again to the middle here. Change these to 0.5. It's gonna center it right in the middle. The other one's 800, 500 by 800, so it's like 900. Sorry, 900. And then by size, what did I put? 600. I'm gonna change the Z order here. So the overlay for this, so if you change the Z order, it'll change its location. What goes in front of what? So if I give this a higher Z order, it'll go in front of the other one. Like such. I'm gonna move this up a bit. I'm on the board right now. Position, I'm looking at X. Sorry, I need to change Y. Which way do you need to change it to make it go up? Oh, this one, okay. If I change it like that, I can change the color to this to make it to make it nothing, because I'm not over anything. Wait, let's let me change this to, wait, what was I changing in this? Oh, I was changing the content color. I want to change the brush color. The content would be anything that's inside of it. Sorry, I'm spending a lot of time on this. 700? I don't know. That looks a little bit better, I guess. And then I'm going to take an image here. Sorry, not an image. I want text. Text block. Add it to border here. Gonna add a 0. Padding is however close it is to things. Let's do the center. Why is my text block so long? Oh, it's filled vertically, that's why. Let's do that, and then I can just adjust the size from the top, or I can just add padding. Let me change the font here to be 40 or something. I don't know. That looks good enough to me, actually. And then if I move down the padding on the top, if I add to like 10 or something. Sorry, I added. Wait, what? Did I do anything? 100? Okay. I guess 10 just wasn't the padding? Cool. And then I'm just going to name this. This is going to be inventory. Inventory. Alright, so I think I made a decent looking box here. You can mess with it however you want. Alright, if I change the color and opacity of this to be this, change the border to be white. Okay. And then if I change the padding to be 10 here. Why? No, because I'm not changing the padding of the actual content. Okay. So if I change the padding of the content instead of this, because if I add the padding to the actual border itself, it's going to shrink it within this. I want the wrap box to be within this thing. So if I slot overlay, inner slot padding, what if I do this? 10, maybe like 20. Okay. So now I have the actual, I have the wrap box within the confines of like the gray area, which is where I want the squares to spawn. So it looks a little bit better. So I'm going to compile and save that. I'm sorry that took me so long. I might have to edit through that. That took yeah. I got hyper focused on details. Anyway, so let's go to the next one. So the next thing is going to be a new blueprint class, and it's going to be another user widget. User widget, I'm selecting this WB underscore, and it's going to be slot. And this is going to be the widget for the slot that's just going to go in the inventory. So let me, this time I'm actually not going to need a canvas panel. All I'm going to need is a size box, which is going to go in here. And if you actually want to see, we actually want to click the drop down menu here and click desired on screen. And it'll give you an actual accurate depiction of how big it is compared to the rest of the screen. And we're going to get a button to put in there because we want it to be clickable. And that button, I don't know, I'm just going to leave it as button, I guess. I don't feel like thinking of anything for that. All right, so I'm going to want an overlay to go on top of that button. And then in this overlay, I'm probably going to want an image and then text. Width and height override so you can actually set how big this is. Let's see, how big is that? That looks kind of huge, right? $100? That might be too small. I don't know. Whatever. We're gonna find out, I guess. So, button overlay. Then I need an image. This is going to be what the picture is going to look like of the icon. Well, let's make sure this is, yeah, that's filled. This overlay is not filled. All right, I think I found the padding. It's in here. So press padding, normal padding. So I can zero out this. Yeah, okay, so that's my padding. I'll get rid of both of those. So no padding. I don't know why it's so hard to find that. That was like inside a whatever. All right, so image, I'm going to encompass the entire area. So the whole thing is the image. And then I'm going to get a text thing, which I'm going to use as the number of items if it's a stackable object, however many number of stuff there is. Yeah, I can't figure out how to word today. Let me turn this to black. Am I not hovering over text? I am not. All right, let me change this to black. And let me change this to get a good depiction of what it actually is going to look like. Is this too small? Yeah, whatever. Let me put this in the bottom right corner. That's typically where the numbers are for stacks. And that should be good for now. Wait, what am I going to need variables of? I'm definitely going to need a variable of the image. Let me rename this so I can actually find this thing later. So this would be item image. And the other thing would be item quantity. And I'm going to change it to is variable for item quantity, and I'm going to change it, I already changed the item image to is variable. So yeah. And I think that's all I need to do for that for now. Let me, I'll probably have to come back to this later. But let me get started on the struct. So a struct basically is going to have all the information for, in this case, our button, but you can use it for a variety of other things. It's actually very useful. So I can show you by example. So for this thing, what am I going to need? I'm going to need the name of the thing, and I'm going to make that of type string text. And then I'm going to add another variable, and that is going to be the description. It's going to be the description of the item. Then I can add another one, and I can add is stackable. I'll just put stackable on there. Stackable. I typically like to add question marks or booleans, but whatever. We're going to leave it like that. Add variable. Another one I'm going to add is the quantity if it is stackable. And I'm going to make that a integer. Then I'm going to add another variable, and I'm going to, this is going to be the thumbnail for the object. So if I get a texture 2D of the object, this is going to be a 2D object, aka the picture we're going to put in there. And then I'm going to need the mesh, which for this I'm just going to get a static mesh of type object. All right, and that's all we need to do for this struct. Never need to open again. Closing it. I'm just going to reference that thing later. All right, so next I'm going to create the item itself. So I'm going to go into the blueprint class, and I'm going to create an actor. And this is going to be the item. So if I go in here, I have nothing in here. So I'm going to create a static mesh, but I'm not going to put any object in it because I want it to be variable. So let me add the variable for the struct I just created. So I'm going to call it item. And this is going to be the S underscore, I just called it struct, item. Did I call it item struct? Whatever. All right, anyway, so let me compile and save this. And if you actually drop down the default thing, you'll actually see all the information that we input here. For this, let me make this instance editable and expose on spawn so I can actually edit it. And I think that's all I need to do with that for now. Alright, so let me go in the construct real quick, and I'm going to take that static mesh that I have here, and I'm going to set the static mesh. And that static mesh is going to be attached to that item that we just created. Get item, and I can split the structure pin, and then I can attach the, this is the static mesh, so I'm going to attach the item mesh onto this thing. And then I'm going to set simulate physics on the object so that it can simulate physics. Let me just drag off this. Simulate, compile and save, and it should work now. So if I grab this BP item on here, just gonna make it float. And then if I hit the under default, it has the item thing here. You can drop down menu here. And I think, let me figure out what I have first. I think there's a sword. SM sword. And do I have a sword thumbnail? Got lucky. All right, cool. I have a sword thumbnail. I'm gonna name it sword. I'm gonna give it the description. It's sharp. I can't think of anything. I'm gonna keep it not stackable. I'm gonna give it a 1 on the quantity here. And I scroll wheeled, so it went down. Okay, so quantity 1, and that is it. So I have a sword. That's, hopefully the physics works. And it's not, so I'm pretty sure I'm about to get an error once I escape. And I did, and it'll tell me, typically with these things, it'll tell me exactly what I need to do to fix it. So it's saying my problem is complex as simple collision. Okay, that's an easy fix. I just click on this. This is probably gonna be a specific issue to what I have, because my mesh has that, but if yours also has that, this is the way to fix that. Or if it gives you that notification. I'm going to click on the content browser thing with it on it, and I'm going to double click on this sword, and it'll take me to this location now. And if I don't even need to click on the sword. If you go to the collision here, it says use complex collision as simple. I'm going to flip it, use simple collision as complex. Maybe I should look at what my simple collision looks like. Let's see, show simple collision. This is what my simple collision looks like. What does my complex collision look like? The same thing. Okay, cool. Cool. And it works. Or should work. And it works. Okay. So I did that. I might create a couple more like examples here. I'm going to need it later anyway with putting it in the inventory and stuff so you can see more examples. We have a shield. Shield icon, please. Shield. Okay. Quantity 1. It's a shield. It blocks stuff. Not stackable. Quantity's fine. And then I'm going to... I'm holding Alt and dragging, by the way, to create duplicates. What should I should do a stackable item next. Do I have arrows? I do have arrows. Do I have arrows? I don't have arrows. I have a torch. I don't know why I thought torch, but I ended up having it, so that works. I'm going to make the quantity for this 10, and I'm going to make it stackable. And I'm going to make this arrow. Ranged ammo. And then I'm actually going to duplicate this and leave this here so I can show you it's stacking, but also show quantity because it's going to have more. Let's see. That's all I want to do with that for now. I can't really do anything with it yet. Let's make sure. Oh my goodness, I'm going to have to change the meshes for everything. Okay, well, apparently it wasn't just a sword issue. But I literally have to do just the same thing. I realized I was like blocking my sword probably was, so you probably didn't see how I opened up the content browser for it. So let me just do that here. So I'm hitting the content here. I can see it on this thing, so I know you guys can see it. That's what happens when I don't pay attention. Double click, and let me make sure that you saw this part. Yeah, you probably did see this part. Same thing. I'm going to assume it's good. I'm going to do the same thing for the arrows. And I just need to change one in order to change all of them. Let me do this. Simple as complex. Save. All right, everything should work. All right, everything fell to the ground. Cool. All right, good to know. So now what? What do I do now? Let me go back to the slot real quick. So I have this item quantity, this. I believe I made these all variable. So let me just go inside the graph here. We got some event pre-construct stuff we need to do, so let's do that first. So I'm gonna grab the item image here, drag down here, and we're gonna set brush from texture, and the texture asset is going to be whatever we're choosing to make the texture asset. So I actually need the variable here that we used before, the item. I'm going to name it the same. And then I'm going to get item here. Alright, and I'm going to drag this on and then split it up. Oh, what did I just do? Did I not? Okay, this is not the item that I thought of. What am I doing? This is not the S underscore item we're talking about. Sorry, it is late. I'm not thinking straight. All right, so right click, split this, and then let me grab the thumbnail for this. That's what's going to be in the texture thing here. And if I click on this, I don't need to do that. All right, let me just duplicate, do this. So I'm dragging off here, getting the item quantity. The quantity is going to be a text representation of what it's going to be. So I'm going to set text of this item quantity because it's a number. It's a text, but it's a number that's still the same. And I'm going to drag off of this. And if you drag off of this, it'll automatically convert it to a text. It'll convert the integer to text. And I want to get a branch condition on this. which for this branch condition, I want to make sure that this quantity is greater than 1. Greater than 1. And I'm attaching this on here. And this assures that the number is greater than 1 so that the numbers will show up. Yeah. That's pretty self-explanatory, actually. All right, so taking the item quantity, and if it is greater than 1, for the true, we're going to set the visibility of the item quantity, which is just the text, to visible. And if it's not greater than 1, right? Yeah, less than 1. It's going to be hidden. Just trying to make sure that I'm not doing this backwards. Hidden, all right. Oh, I think that should be fine. Yeah. So we're setting the brush texture, setting the text. If the branch condition is true, then it will show. If it's false, then it'll stay hidden. All right, so now let me create the blueprint component that I'm gonna put all this stuff inside of. I can close this out. Let me go in here and okay. I'm gonna create a new blueprint class, and this is going to be an actor component. I'm just going to put BPC for blueprint component and then inventory. I'm going to double click in here, and I'm going to do like all my stuff in here. So let me save this. All right, so now I'm going to go back to the WB inventory here, and I'm going to create a new function in here, and that function is just going to be the load inventory. So in this thing here, I'm just going to add an input on this thing. I'm going to add a inventory here, and that's going to be the BPC inventory we have, so we can use that as a reference. And I'm just gonna drag off of here, get a for each loop, because I want to take the individual items, which I didn't add on this thing yet. So let me get the variables for this. I'm going to put items as in plural, because I'm actually going to make this s underscore item struct. I want to make this an array. Make it array, compile and save that. Instead it will expose on spawn. Let me go back to the inventory, save, drag off of this, get items, and then drag off of this onto the array. And then on the loop body, I'm going to create the widgets onto the actual thing, based on what items are available. So let me get, it's going to be on the slot. And as you can see here, you can't really attach it to anything because there's nothing in here. So if you go back to this slot widget here, you can go under here and say instance editable, expose on spawn. I'm going to compile and save that, go back to the inventory, and it didn't work. Wait, let me see. Go back to my slot. Well, not working. I guess it just needed a second. All right. Anyway, go back and attach this array element into the item here. And then I'm going to grab this wrap box, which is over here, the wrapbox 590, because I didn't rename it. So add child to wrapbox, attach that in here, and let me return value to this content. So I'm taking whatever this widget is and I'm adding it to the wrap box for however many items I have collected. So let me compile and save that. So let's now go back to the inventory component here. And this is where I'm going to be doing a lot of the stuff. I'm not going to do anything within the third person character. I'm just going to like have it all in here. So I'm going to do it under here, create widget. So I'm on the event begin play. I want to create the inventory widget. Which was to inventory. And then I'm going to promote this to a variable. Let me rename this to inventory widget. And then on setting this, I'm going to resize this to the items here. Get this. So I'm resizing the items, which resizing, what that does is it creates how many slots are in there. And there's a way to, like, most people, a typical inventory, I guess, you have just like a ton of slots. But I guess you could also, if you wanted to, you could make it so that for every item that you add in there, you increment it and then you add that as an additional one. That would require a lot more effort, and it's already super late. So I'm going to do just this. So I'm going to add, like, I don't know, 10 slots. I don't know. 10, nice whole number. So there should be 10 slots in there when you open your inventory. I'm going to get rid of this. I don't need that. I'm going to right click and then click keyboard key. Doesn't matter which one you click, because you can click up here and you can press I and it'll automatically create the keyboard binding to I for this. So pressed, I'm going to get a branch here. And I want to determine that the inventory widget here is visible. So if it is visible, I want it to appear. If it isn't, if it is visible, I want it to go away. If it isn't visible, then I want it to appear. So if it is visible, let me get the inventory widget itself. Remove from parent. And then if it's the opposite, add to viewport. False, add to viewport. Alright, so that's pretty good with that. So the next thing, maybe I want to actually look at this first. So if I press I, nothing happens. Okay, wait a second. So I pressed I, nothing happens. So why is that? I need to go to my actual third-person character here. And what I didn't do is add on the actual BPC inventory. So now it should work. So if I close that, hit play, and I press I, the inventory will pop up. I press I again, it'll go away. Okay. So, yep. Next thing I need to do is going to be create a mechanism for actually picking up the items. And that's going to be a little bit more because you have to hook everything up. So keyboard key. What? What? Why can't I? Oh, wait. Why am I in here? Sorry, I'm in the wrong location. Sorry. Anyway, going in here, press the keyboard key for this, and then I'm going to press this and press E. And then on pressed, I'm going to make it do a lot of different things. So, how do I want to start this off? Sphere trace. By channel. And you're basically just going to be creating a sphere trace around yourself. You can also do it with the linear trace. But then I have to create like an actual targeting system so I can actually aim it. Or I could do it within a cone. I don't know, whatever. I'm going to do the sphere trace thing. So I'm going to get my player character, because I want this to be the location of where the sphere trace is going to go around. So get actor transform. Probably just don't do that. I'm going to get the actor location. I could have broken that up and used it, but I'm just going to do this. Get actor location, and you do start and then end. And then the radius, I'm going to do like 200 or something. And then we're going to draw the debug for duration so we can actually see what it looks like on the thing. Let's see what that looks like anyway. It's kind of big. I could also lower down the thing if I needed to. Yeah, you can lower down the sphere so it's not in the sky, but whatever. Let me go into here, and then on this, I want to cast to the item, because I'm going to use this as the thing that I'm out hitting to. Sorry, let me break this hit result. And then I'm going to attach the hit actor from the sphere. So whatever the sphere hits, it's going to do whatever this is. Might need item here. Let me do a for each loop here. So I can get any of the items that are being hit by this. I can take, let me get the item. If I get the item here, if I split this struct pin, let me get target, let me get the item here too. Get item, and I can break the item struct here. Okay. Split the structure pin. So whatever we pick up here, we're going to want to determine if it's stackable. And if it is stackable, we want to make sure whatever the maximum quantity we want to put in there is. And then we want to add the things together. So if the name is equal exactly from the thing that we're taking to this one, if these are equivalent, then and Boolean, and it is, the item is stackable, because this is the other item. This is the item that we're pulling from our thing already. And let me add another pin here. And I'm going to determine the item quantity. Add. Just gonna control and then drag onto that so it's on the bottom one. No real reason, just for aesthetics. You can crisscross them if you want. It only matters if you're subtracting. And then I want to determine if this is greater than or equal to any type of, however big you want the stack size to be. So if I put in 100 or 1,000, you can have a max of 1,000 of that item. Then I can determine the branch up here and attach that up here for the condition. I'm going to determine if the item is going to be valid. So if I drag off there and then say is valid, question mark, and then drag the loop body onto here. So for each loop, I'm determining if it's valid. If it is valid, then we're going to do this stuff. And if it's true, I want to grab the items here, and I want to set array element to match what needs to be done here. So I'm going to grab the index, array index of the specific index this item is on, and I'm going to take the item, which it's going to be here. All right, I'm going to drag off of here, make s item struct, and I'm going to determine this is going to be the same, this is going to be the same, is stackable is going to be the same, item quantity is going to change, thumbnail and item mesh. So the quantity is just going to be these things added together. I can actually just drag this up here. So that's like that. Everything else should stay the same, so that's good. All right, so on the false, I'm actually going to create another branch. The item quantity for this is going to be equal to 0. And I'm only going to do a true because if it's less than 0, then it doesn't exist. Sorry, if it is 0, then it doesn't exist. So set array element here, drag this on here, and then the index for array index, drag it on here. The item is going to be, I'm gonna need to make an item off this thing, aren't I? Get item, drag off from this item, and attach it right here. I need to drag that off the inventory widget because that's where it exists. Load inventory. That's the function we created earlier. And then I'm going to drag this onto here. The inventory, this is going to be a reference to self. And then I'm going to destroy the actor. And the destroying of the actor is the interpretation of me taking the item and then the item is no longer there. Sorry, I can't extract off that thing. I need to actually grab the BP item itself, destroy actor, drag onto here. All right, I just registered that I did this backwards. The opposite. This is, yeah, literally the opposite. Less than or equal to. Equal to. And I'm going to make this the 1,000 again. All right, let's compile and save it. All right, so I'm in here now. And I'm just going to go and try and pick up these items and see if it works. All right, so let me click here. Okay, cool. Not so cool. All right, what the heck? Oh my, wait, how much can we mess this up? Well, at least you can see it stacked. Um, yeah, I think I know what the problem is. Go to the inventory here. What I didn't do was clear the children. That's funny though. And it's good to see. So it's good to see that error right there. So now if I drag this in here, it'll clear the children in the box before every time it reloads. So if I press E on here, I press E on here, that stack's fine. Boom. See 10, and then this should stack on top of the other one, 20. Okay. Cool. That was a little funny little detour, but yeah. I think it's good to see because you can see like how every single piece of the puzzle is important. So let me go into the slot now, and we want to add an on-clicked event for the thing here, the button. So on the button, if you scroll down to the bottom here, should I just move my face? Here, doop, doop, doop. You can see right here, there's an on-clicked event here. So if I click on this on-clicked event, it'll take me over to this graph. Let me put myself back in this corner. All right, so we have this on-clicked event here, and I'm going to drag off of this, and we're going to spawn actor from class, and it's going to be whatever the item is that we're clicking on. This is dropping the item, by the way. It's going to be whatever the item that we clicked on is what we're going to be spawning. So if I grab this item thing here, let me get this. I didn't spawn the actor of class. So we're going to call it BP item, because that's what it is. So it'll automatically give us this option here, and we can just plug this in, and that's currently the item we're going to be spawning is the one that we're clicking on. I think I just have to get player character. I can get the actor transform. I might offset it a little bit for me so it's in front of me. So let me split this. And let me split this. Scale. The location. I don't know what my character location direction is. I'm gonna guess X. I'm gonna add X to X. Sorry, I'm gonna add to X. I'm gonna add like, I don't know what's a good distance, but yeah, maybe 50 to X. Compile and then save that, and that will offset it a little bit so it's not right on top of me. Alright, so now I'm going to create some variables for me to mess with on my other graph. So let me hit a plus here, and the things that I want is going to be an index, and that's just going to be of type integer here. And then I also want a the inventory component, so I'm just going to call it inventory, and I'm just going to get the BPC inventory object reference for the component. I totally what the how did I even, there we go. Cool. So I have both of these as references. I'm gonna make it instance editable, expose and spawn. This one also needs to be instance editable and expose and spawn. All right, so compile and then save that, and then now we should have more options on this thing. So let me compile, save, compile. This is gonna be the same thing as last time. Yeah, okay, it works now. And so I'm gonna just drag off this array index here, and I'm going to attach it directly into the index. And then for the inventory, I'm just gonna drag off of this directly into the inventory here. Okay, so now I'm gonna go back to my onClicked event. You can continue now. So let me grab off this inventory here, and we can get the inventory widget here. Inventory, get inventory widget, because we need to grab off of here and we need to load the inventory on this side. So that's the final thing we need to do. So in between this, we need to actually get the inventory. Sorry, this needs to go in here. We need to get what's in the inventory. So it's going to be the items. So if we get the items and then attach this to set array element, and then we can take the index that we just created, and this index is going to determine exactly what item that we are clicking on, and then we can make this item clear. So it's like everything's cleared out for this item, because it's being removed from the inventory. And I think that's all I need to do with that. Let's see. BP item. See inventory. Let's see. Okay. I'm gonna need to add more stuff with this then. I'm actually gonna take this whole thing and drag this down here, just so I have more space. That's the only reason. Yeah. So in here, I need to make it so I can freely use my mouse and it doesn't rotate my camera. So if you get the player controller and then grab off of this and you set the mouse, set show mouse cursor. Let's see, so true is visible, true. So this is going to be where we're removing it. So this is where we're removing the mouse cursor. Set the input, since we're removing the mouse cursor, it's going to be game only. Drag on here. All right, I had to wait for that train to go by. Let me set the mouse cursor again, but this time we're going to check it, and then we want to set the input to probably do game and UI. I'm going to do game and UI, and hopefully that works. You can also do this at the start of your game, so you don't have to initially click when you first go into the game. It'll just automatically make it so that you don't have to click anything. If you don't know what I'm talking about, when you hit play, you know, you can see the mouse now. You can make it so that when you do it, it keeps the... Okay, I need to do this other way around. You can make it so that you don't have to do that additional click. So let me alt-click, alt-click, alt-click. Alt-click here, drag onto here. This goes here. The target is going to be the player controller. Right. Yep. Okay, that works. So yeah, sometimes it's a positioning issue if you don't have the thing done before the other thing. Sometimes it doesn't work. So if you have things that don't work sometimes, just try rearranging the items and see if it works afterward. Or rearranging the nodes or whatever you want to call it. All right, so next I'm going to make it so, well, actually I didn't even show this. Does this work? So this is on here. If I click, it drops off. I can actually do it with these items as well. And you can see it stacks in here. And when I click it, it's now in one stack because they attached inside the thing. So let me do this. And once I pick it up, it's back to 20. So that's good. So the next thing is creating a description for these items. So when you hover over it in your inventory, that you can see it basically gives you like a detail of what the item is or what it does or whatever. So let me create a new. Let me go into the inventory here. Let me create a new blueprint here, and it's going to be another user widget. User widget, and it's going to be WB underscore inventory tool tip. Okay, so now we're creating a tooltip for the inventory, and I'm just going to grab off of here. It's going to be the item, what is it called? Size box again. So drag on the size box. I'm going to do the thing again where I can see desired on screen. And it vanished because it's the size of nothing. And I'm going to drag off of this. I'm going to get an item. No, just kidding. I'm going to get a border first. Border, and then I can just have everything happen inside the border. Then I can get the item thumbnail, which is an image. I don't even know why I said item thumbnail. It's going to be the item thumbnail, and then a vertical box with both descriptions in it. Let me scale this up. So you can do width and height override. I don't know how big I want this. 180. Um, 300. I don't know how, that might be too small. All right, well, I'm gonna do it for now. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, I'll see it in a second. So I have my image, and then I'm going to need a, I'm gonna get a vertical box. Maybe I should get a horizontal box first. So I can do a horizontal box, and then I can make them next to each other. So actually, do Control V on that, and now I have the image box inside the horizontal box. You can just grab another image if I Control C it and Control V'd it, so I could just paste it back over top. But yeah, you can just make another one. So that's a horizontal box. Image. I'm just gonna rename this to the item thumbnail right now, so I don't forget. And then I'm gonna take text blocks, and not going to do that yet. I'm going to create the vertical box because I want multiple texts. I want the name of the item, and then I want the description. So this is also going to go within the horizontal box, but this is going to be text. text blocks, and I'm going to use 2 of them. Let me attach this onto, oops, there we go. Let me make these appearance, change both of these to black. We can change the size of this. So what is this? Item thumbnail. I'm gonna zero this out. It's kind of, it's probably because I'm setting this as a max standard. Let me increase this a bit, so like 180, but like 180. All right, that's better. This is out of the box now. So wait, let me go back to the size box here, and I can actually do this, so I don't have to fine tune this. So this is, it'll just create this as the minimum option for the box instead of the maximum. For the border, I'm gonna make like the padding like 10 or something, or maybe I need to do it for the horizontal box. Let me do that. Okay, and then I can make the border a different color here. So I'm going to, this content, I want to change the brush color here to like that or something. Whatever, that's fine. Actually, I'm going to change this back to white. Okay, so I have this, I have the border, I have this. These are really close to the image itself. Let me, I can create a padding on the left of the vertical box if I just drag down here. And then, I don't know, 10. Separates the items a bit. And this is going to be the item name. So let me rename this to item name, and I'm gonna make this a variable here. Let me change the size on this text. So font, I can increase it to like 40 or something. 40 is kind of big, but that's fine. This, I can actually make this regular, and I can change it to nothing. That looks fine. And so this one is going to be the item description. Item description. And I'm gonna make this a variable too. So now I'm gonna go into the WB slot here. And within this WB slot, I'm going to create a event construct on here, and I'm going to create W widget there, and it's going to be the class WB inventory tooltip. So I'm going to create this inventory tooltip. I'm going to promote to a variable so we can reference it later. So tool tip. So tooltip. Now I'm going to have to go back to this designer here, and on, let me do, I think it's on overlay that you can change it. Tooltip text. I don't want tooltip text. I want tooltip widget, because I created a widget for this tooltip. So not tooltip text, because you can't implement this into that. Click on this and click the binding here, create a binding. and it'll give you a return node that has like a widget option on it. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get, sorry, not set that. I need to get this. So let me get this, and then I need to break this. Split this structure pin. And then off of the thumbnail thing, we're going to get that first. We're going to determine if this is valid, because that determines whether it exists or not. That item exists, because if this isn't valid, it's not going to go through. So is valid. I'm going to set the text. Set tooltip text. Tooltip text? Yeah, set tooltip text. Let me grab my tooltip. Let's break it down this way. So I need to get the item name. Get item name. We need to set the item description. And we need the thumbnail. Item thumbnail. So I need all three of these things. All right, so first thing is set text from this. Okay, that's better. Is valid, set text. This text is going to be, I could actually probably just drag it. I'm not, whatever. I'm just gonna drag it off this. Split this. Item name goes there, so that's gonna be the item name. We're gonna do another one where we're gonna set the text again for the description. Let me grab off this item description, and the last thing we need is the brush for the thumbnail. So set brush, the same thing we did before. Did I miss? Wait, what? Set brush. Why can't I set the brush? Set brush. From, okay. I don't know why I couldn't do it dragging off the other thing, but I can do it for this. Set brush from texture. Drag the thumbnail here. And drag this onto the return node. And on the return value, I'm just going to drag the tooltip onto this. Compile and save. So I set all the stuff for the tooltip, which name, description, and thumbnail. All right, so that should, yeah, that's good. And then let me go into the third person map and see if this works. So I'm gonna pick up some items, boop, boop. And if I hit I, and I drag over these things, it says, it's sharp, block stuff, ranged ammo. And those are descriptions I put in the thing at the very beginning. So yeah, that is it for that. I know this was a lot. I kind of, I went all over the place with this a little bit because I didn't really have anything set up. So yeah, I will edit this, hopefully. I remember that. Yeah, thank you so much for being here. Have a good one. Bye.